Hello.
Hello. Vanakkam. Welcome to the Indian Heritage Centre's permanent exhibition. Entitled Indians in Singapore, Past and Present, this exhibition tells the stories of the Indian diasporas in Singapore and the Southeast Asian region from pre-modern times to the post-independence era. Join me and my fellow docents as we come together to take you through the 5 galleries in the permanent exhibition. So look out for QR codes placed in the gallery to follow the full tour. I hope you enjoy your visit to this exhibition. Indians in Singapore are an integral part of Singapore's ethnic fabric, comprising over 9% of the total resident population. As a result of a complex process of migration, Singapore's Indian community is highly diverse. Today, Indian heritage in Singapore is marked by a majority Tamil culture flanked by myriad regional communities which mirror the diversity of the subcontinent. But before we explore the modern migration of Indians to Singapore, it is important to look at our shared pre-modern past. Centuries of interactions with South Asia have left indelible imprints in the Southeast Asian region. Hinduism, Buddhism found their way into Southeast Asia via travelers, monks and merchants. One of the routes Islam and Christianity arrived was also via South Asia to Southeast Asia. Through themes of religion and trade, this gallery explores aspects of early connections between these regions and the movement of people across the ocean. Singapore, Singapura or Temasek played an integral role in the trading network connecting India and China. The name Singapura, meaning Lion City, itself has Indic roots and points to prevailing practice in the region among Hindu-Buddhist polities that had close connections with Indian polities. This rare South Indian bronze mask is a glorious representation of the Kirti Mukha with bulging eyes, gaping mouth, his tongue split in 2 dragons' heads. The Kirti Mukha or auspicious face of glory is a popular icon in South and Southeast Asian Hindu-Buddhist temple architecture. Known as Taote or the monster of greed in China, Chepu or a serpent-devouring form in Nepal, and as Kala, who symbolized the passing of time in Southeast Asia, the Kirti Mukha motif typically appears on archways, cornices and lintels. The Kirti Mukha or Kala motif also appears in pre-colonial archaeological evidence found in Singapore. A gold armlet with a Kala motif in its clasp was discovered in 1926 at Bukit Larangan, which is Fort Canning Hill, and has been dated to the 14th century CE. Widespread consensus is that it is Javanese in style. However, as the bracelet is more intricate in design and form compared to other jewelry found at the time, it appears more Indian. In this exhibition, this artifact is utilized as a curatorial device to draw attention to artistic exchanges between South and Southeast Asia as evident in Hindu-Buddhist architectural motifs such as the Kirti Mukha. From Singapore, let's journey now to Cambodia and discover a relic of the past that speaks of the exchange of ideas and narratives between these 2 regions.
In this gallery, you see some rare artifacts that exemplify the vast remains of sculpture and architecture from early Southeast Asian kingdoms which stand testimony to the adaptation of Indian religions by local rulers. Some early Hindu-Buddhist cultural centers in Southeast and East Asia include the kingdoms of Pyu, Funan, Zenla, Dwaravati, Champa, Shailendra, Angkor, Majapahit and Srivijaya. The legends of Garuda traveled to the region with the spread of Hinduism to Southeast Asia, where he is frequently depicted on monuments. He is associated with royalty in several Southeast Asian countries. Garuda is also the mount of the Hindu deity Vishnu. In Hindu mythology, Garuda and the Nagas began life as cousins. The story goes that Kadru, the mother of the Nagas, wanted many children, while Vinata, the mother of Garuda, wanted few but powerful children. They were both granted their wish. Kadru laid 1,000 eggs which hatched into snakes or Nagas, while Vinata laid 2 eggs which hatched into Garuda, and the other was the charioteer of the sun god. One day, Vinata lost a bet with Kadru, and as a result was enslaved by Kadru and the Nagas. Hence, Garuda had to do the bidding of the Nagas. To release his mother, Garuda was asked to bring the Nagas the food of the gods or Amrita, which would grant them immortality. While Garuda managed to steal food from the Nagas, he was also successful in fooling the Nagas and prevented them from being able to eat it, ultimately emerging victorious over his cousins. This story is a very popular one in Southeast Asia, as you can see it depicted in this intricately cast finial, which is a wonderful example of Khmer metalwork from the Angkor period. At one time, this decorative element would have been used on a Khmer chariot as a symbol of power and strength. Perhaps designed for use in battle, it depicted a fierce-looking Garuda or mythical bird raising his powerful chest in a stance meant to intimate atop a multi-headed Naga or serpent which looks poised to attack. The mythical creatures are closely associated with water and life, thus playing an important role in Khmer iconographic tradition. Did you know that images of Garuda are also depicted in Hindu temple architecture in Singapore? For instance, you can see this at Sri Srinivasa Perumal Temple, a national monument along Serangoon Road. From a Hindu relic, let's journey onwards to learn more about the Buddhist connections between the regions with my fellow docent at the next stop.
From your visit to Cambodia, you have now arrived in the Malay archipelago. Buddhism was diverse in its influence in Southeast Asia. Discernible Buddhist traditions were established in the area. These included a profound Theravada tradition amongst strains of the Mahayana and Tantric traditions. The Buddha and Buddhist deities are well represented across peninsular and mainland Southeast Asia, with idioms of the Gupta, Amaravati, Pala and Anuradhapura schools having had deep impact on the Buddhist art of the region. The thalassocracy of Srivijaya was an important Buddhist center in Southeast Asia. It was also the first unified kingdom spanning much of the Malay archipelago. Both Buddhism and Hinduism were practiced. Mahayana Buddhism and Vajrayana Buddhism, with its esoteric worship of a pantheon of Buddhist deities, were in existence here. Avalokiteshvara, the personification of unbounded compassion, is arguably the most popular bodhisattva in Buddhist tradition. Early Indian art portrays Buddhist bodhisattva in their regal forms. However, later schools, reflecting the changed association of asceticism with Avalokiteshvara, saw alterations in iconography. Simple attire and animal skin coverings were among the most common inclusions in later imagery of the 4th to 9th century CE, as seen in this representation. This bronze resonates with the post-Gupta iconography of Avalokiteshvara, showing him holding the lotus flower and a string of recitation beads, symbolizing his peaceful form. Avalokiteshvara is seen standing in a flexed pose on a bulbous lotus base, wearing a long sampot or drape with chevron pleats held at the waist by a belt tied in a loose knot. A sacred thread adorns his torso and an antelope skin draped on the right shoulder. With arms bent at the elbows, his hands are slightly raised, holding prayer beads and a flower stem. An image of a seated Buddha Amitabha, his spiritual progenitor, is seen in the Jata Mukuta or headdress. Kedah in the Srivijayan Empire was also an important trading port which had connections with the Indian subcontinent. In fact, trade was one of the principal motivations for the movement of people from pre-modern to modern times. Come, let us find out more about these trading networks.
Trade in Indian textiles through land and sea routes can be traced as early as the 1st century CE. India, renowned for its painted and dyed textiles, was engaged in production activities and trade along the Gujarat, Coromandel, and Bengal coast. Some of the earliest textiles to be traded were the Gujarati Patan ki Patola, a type of double ikat silk clothes. Trading companies such as the English East India Company and the Dutch East India Company acquired Indian textiles in exchange for European and Japanese silver and traded them for spices from Southeast Asia. These spices and textiles were then sold in Europe and the Americas. Following colonial intervention, the trade in Indian textiles dried up by the 19th century, and respectable local imitations were soon produced, which were traded out of Singapore too. This context of early interactions between the two regions forms an important preamble to the modern dispersion of South Asian diasporas to the Southeast Asian region. Singapore played an integral role in the maritime trading networks of the past. Between the 15th and the 20th centuries, distinct schools of Indo-European furniture evolved in India. Embodying the fusion of the Western form with Indian materials and technique, Indo-European furniture were an important derivative of the spice trade that the European companies were engaged in South and Southeast Asia. The Coromandel Coast, a region of early textile production, lined with international ports, received traders from the East and the West, and emerged as an early center of production of Western-style furniture. The craftsmanship of these artisans suggests their exposure to Western examples and Western-style Asian creations, a familiarity which grew with the establishment of the European powers in India. Other centers of European trade and settlement, such as the coasts of Malabar, Gujarat, and Bengal, also become centers of production, while trading centers such as Goa, Surat, and Cambay also functioned as sourcing point for ready-made furniture. Indian silversmiths made intricate and elegant silver objects to meet the needs of Europeans settled in the region as well as for export. Bhuj in Kutch district, Lucknow, Madras, Bombay, and Kashmir were important centers of production. Tea services, bowls, ewers, mugs, goblets, and jugs were the most ubiquitous forms created. Such silverware was popular among European officers and well-to-do Indians. European aesthetics directed early work of the silversmiths, but by the 19th century, regional motifs were incorporated in response to popular demand. Parsi ritual silverware was produced in Bombay and parts of Gujarat, with other silver items imported from southern China. This letterbox is a superlative example of decorative cabinets and furniture made in India for export to Europe between the 16th and the 17th century. The exterior is entirely veneered in ivory. It is engraved with charcoal detail and borders of composite flowers emanating from tufts of 4 wavy banana leaves. The hinged front opens to reveal 3 central pigeonholes, flanked on either side by 3 curved ivory-faced drawers. The front of the cabinet houses a frieze drawer. The box stands on bun feet with silver carrying handles on both sides. I'm always curious to discover aspects of the artifact that are not visible to the naked eye. Using our app, you can actually see the interior of the box, the rear, as well as the base to discover the intricacies involved in the crafting of this box. Isn't it wonderful that technology allows us to do so? Here are the download details on the screen for you to do so to enhance your experience of our exhibitions. From stories of pre-modern diasporas, We are now going to tell you the stories of Singapore's Indian communities. Discover their origins and their journeys with docents at the next few stops.